2 kids who left for school this morning looking forward to what kids look forward to. A day with friends and maybe some time in math class. Maybe they're not looking forward to that. Some time on the playground. Were killed. An 8-year-old and a 10-year-old. And the shooter also died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound on the scene. 17 others were injured. 14 of them are children between the ages of 6 and 15. The other 3 were all parishioners in their 80s. The injured were rushed to Hennepin County Medical Center, and 7 of the children were brought in as critical patients. 4 required an operation. A bystander in the emergency room described the scene to the New York Times today, saying this: "The hospital staff rushed to move patients out of rooms and into hallways to make room for the victims of the shooting." She said she heard one child who was being brought into the ER screaming that she didn't want to die. Thankfully, all of the injured are expected to survive, although they will have many years of trauma from this experience. Some have even been discharged, started to get discharged, which is certainly a bit of good news in a horrific day. That was at the hospital. Back at the school, parents spent a little over an hour this morning experiencing the gut-wrenching agony of not knowing if their children were okay. At around, you can see some pictures of them there being reunited. At around 10 a.m., parents were reunited with their children. The kids had been locked down for safety in the school's basement gymnasium since earlier in the morning. Neighbors described seeing kids walk out with blood down the shirts of their green and blue school uniforms. Some kids weren't even wearing shoes. One of the editors of the Minnesota Star Tribune is a parent at the school and was among the parents at the reunification point. She said that many of the students were crying. Others were silent and looked terrified. Her own daughter told her that the church is ruined and that she is scared to go back. I have been thinking, as I'm sure everybody who has consumed this today has been doing as well, about my kids who happen to be about the same ages as the 2 who were killed, about sending them off to school this morning. I've been thinking about their friends and their teachers, about all the parents, about all the grandparents out there navigating the return to school. And all they should be hoping to do is have someone to sit with at lunch or someone to play with on the playground. And they should be waiting to hear an update when they get home. And that is not what these parents at this school experienced today. Sorry, this is a tough one. Having your child killed while they are sitting in a pew for a morning prayer service is not what any parent should have to worry about. And I have felt a mixture of anger and a lot of anger and emotional exhaustion about this today, as I'm sure many of you have, because we have been here so many times. And yet again, like clockwork, half of the politicians in our country have little more to offer than thoughts and prayers. That is all they are offering. Join all of us in praying for the victims, was Vice President J.D. Vance's response today. That's what he said. That's it. Please join me in praying for everyone involved, Trump wrote. We have seen this play out over and over again. There is a shooting, then come the thoughts and prayers, and then comes the attempt to shift the focus. This is what always happens.
A community behind us, Annunciation Church and School, committed to academics, service, and Catholic values, filled with the first days of school of beautiful children going to learn those values, share with their teachers and their classmates. And instead of that joy and that curiosity and that learning, they were met with evil and horror and death. And we often come to these and say, these unspeakable tragedies, or there's no words for this. There shouldn't be words for these types of incidents because they should not happen. And there's no words that are going to ease the pain of the families today. So there's a lot of cameras here, and unfortunately we have been through these types of things. They will be gone at some point. All of you, you have to do your jobs. But what happened here today will not be gone. Minnesotans will not step away. We'll stand with this community. We'll redouble ourselves to do the best we can to understand what we can do to prevent any parent from having to receive the calls they received today, from any school dedicated to children having to respond to a situation that, as we said, is unthinkable, but that's all too common, not just in Minnesota, but across this country. It's Minnesota's day today, and it's my strongest desire that no state, no community, no school ever experiences a day like this. So I ask the rest of the folks around the country who are watching, keep us in your thoughts and prayers, but also keep us in the thoughts for action.
Trump might as well have shot those kids in Minneapolis himself. Trump sends the wrong guns in the wrong hands to the wrong places, pursuing the wrong criminals. You want to be tough on crime, Trump? Deploy the National Guard to the headquarters of the gun manufacturing companies and arrest the monsters who make their money there from the child murdering business, murdering children literally during their thoughts and prayers. And have ICE round up the politician prostitutes who take the gun money to protect a lie about what the Second Amendment really means. These are the criminals. Trump is the criminal. Trump is soft on crime, soft on the most prevalent, heart-rending crime of our century, school shootings. You want to push back against Trump as he militarizes this country, as he makes it the United Police States of America? You want to make something good happen in the wake of these latest children that we as a nation have sacrificed on our mindless altar of worship to guns? You want these to be the last? You have to say it. You have to speak the truth. Trump might as well have shot them himself. This is a gun country protected by a gun nut.
From a shocking act of violence in your state that touched very close to you, which of course was the murder of the former Speaker of the House of Minnesota and her husband, along with attempted murder of State Senator and his spouse. They survived, thank God. Does it make you, do you ever step back and ask, like, what is wrong? There's something deeply wrong here at some profound level, that in the richest country in the world and maybe ever in in global history, that this happens, and it doesn't happen. There's like something broken or wrong.
Yeah. There's something broken and there's something wrong, and that's that our political system has failed to really look at this like it was your kids in that room, right? The mayor this morning talked about these were all our kids. And of course your reaction, both of us as parents, your reaction is, horror at what happened, and then thinking, well, my kids weren't in there. Well, this could happen to anyone. So when you look at it that way, then you think, what really works? Let's put aside all these fights and what's going to get people in trouble with this base or that base, and what's really worked in other countries. We know it's not one size fits all, but we know there are solutions on better background checks and limits on magazines and ghost guns, and doing something on assault weapons that shouldn't be in the hands of people like this, and that we saw in Uvalde and Buffalo, and what in the case of course, with Representative Hortman, that we lost her because of someone that was so clearly imbalanced. There must be a way to get to the bottom of this, because this is just getting worse and worse.
Apparently, ICE is staying at the DoubleTree in Whittier right here. Allegedly, I was told from an inside source that if a car says California Permit Fleet, it's an ICE vehicle. And they're all normal cars here, but they have a California Permit Fleet sticker. There was this blasted ass fool with face tats and everything, and he's like, fuck that, let's go inside. I'm on your time, bro. Apparently they're letting people in and out through the back door that are agents, and someone found out, so we're here.
I just got a text from a family friend saying we just witnessed the most awful, heart-wrenching experience. We were eating at Brick House Pizza, and some guy ran in and told the workers, ICE is coming. Immediately, they locked the doors, and all the cooks started leaving. The poor girl at the register was crying. Innocent, hard-working people being treated inhumane is so disturbing.
We were right outside where they're staying, right up there on the top floor. They keep peeping their heads down. One dude had like an army shirt, and they're flipping us off. I was like, maybe it's not them. Oh, it's definitely them, bro. I kind of feel bad because we're yelling at the security right here that have nothing to do with it. But they're protecting them that are inside. The entire city popped out. This is beautiful. They're still in there. We just got to take it a day at a time. The manager came out and she said that they're about to escort them through the back. So we'll see if that's true. Yeah! All of that for Whittier to side with ICE and let them stay the night. That's crazy.
He will send the National Guard. He will send them all across this country, and he will do so through Election Day. And if you think I'm exaggerating, consider the fact that as he demobilized our National Guard, he kept hundreds of them through Election Day. And he'll do so working in concert, as he has with ICE and Border Patrol, to do the same. You have the largest private police force in the world. When they're done with this, all that funding and that big, beautiful portrayal allows more resources for this private police force that increasingly is showing a tendency not to swear an oath to the Constitution, but to the President of the United States. And he'll be sending them to voting booths and polling places all across this country. This is a real and serious moment in U.S. history. And by the way, I say that as an American, not as a Democrat. Every Republican should be ashamed about this and scared to death about not just these authoritarian tendencies, but these authoritarian actions by the president. He is weak. He's weakness masquerading as strength. And that makes him more dangerous than most people believe. I think Donald Trump wants another election. You think for a second you want... I have 24 Trump 2028 hats. His folks keep sending me.
And you think he's going to run again?
No, don't give me. You don't. Who spends $200 million on a ballroom at their home and then leaves the house? So this is serious, guys. This is serious.
So it'll be Newsom Trump in 28.
No. This guy doesn't believe in free, fair elections. He tried to wreck this country. Were you there, January 6th? I think Fox was. At least they were in a lawsuit. They seem to have lost any memory of that. Shareholders didn't. I mean, he tried to light democracy on fire. He dialed for 11, almost 12,000 votes. Now he's doing it in plain sight. And people say, oh, just Trump being Trump. People actually think this guy's serious about having another election? You think he's joking about 2028? You think when he brings foreign leaders to the Oval Office and he goes to the White House store, have you seen this? Anyone? Is it just me? And he shows them the 2028 hats? He's not being serious? Wake up. You will lose your country. Again, it's not about Democrats. It's about all of us.
So you're absolutely convinced he's...
I'm absolutely convinced.
2028.
You've seen it. He's tried to steal the last election. He's trying to rig it in plain sight this time. He wants to get rid of vote by mail. He's talking about eliminating voting machines he doesn't like. He's setting up the contours where he can declare a declaration of emergency for anything. Just cause means whatever he just said on Truth Social. He's running the greatest grift operation in world history. I mean, it makes some of these dictators overseas blush, the crypto, not just the perfume. I mean, come on.
Let me ask you about a couple of your...
Wake up, everybody. Wake up.
Let me ask you about a couple...
Excuse me, and I know it's impolite. We have to be more calm and demure.
A couple of your own...
But I'm not calm, and I'm not going to submit myself to niceties. Not when this guy is trying to wreck our goddamn country.
Cognitive dissonance of the reality of who Trump is, always has been, but is even more so today. Bloated, dying, sick, weak, demented, senile. All of those things are held up against a younger, more virile, more handsome man with better hair. These things may seem to you to be trivial, but I think Newsom understood that Trump's vanity is such a powerful shaping force. Seeking Trump's approval by his base, in part, always came down to appeals to Trump's vanity.
Donald Trump is a criminal. A criminal found guilty of 34 felony counts of fraud. Of course, he is lying and manipulating the stock market too.
It's time for the trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. The trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker trucker John loves me. It's gonna be a good time, gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit, hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack, gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well, yeah, it's the trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the trucker John Livestream is the best thing you've ever seen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. Trucker John. All right. Testing. Did you guys hear me? Man, I was so close to getting that cereal done. Testing. Did you guys hear me? I was so close. Trying to get the cereal done. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm going to shut this TV off. I didn't even open my blinds yet. It might be a little darker in here than usual. I didn't open my blinds. Mazel tov. I haven't had my morning coffee yet. It's still over there. I got to finish my orange juice first before I have my coffee. Good morning, everybody. Here it is, 9:25 a.m. Pacific time zone here in the beautiful Las Vegas. We're currently about 85 degrees already. I think we're supposed to have a high 86 degrees. And I think we're supposed to hit, according to this, 96 degrees. I think we're supposed to hit 100 tomorrow. I apologize. I was trying to scarf this stuff down before the intro was done. Anyhow, yeah, another horrific day yesterday. School shooting. I know during the show yesterday, someone, it happened during yesterday's show, and really couldn't, really didn't know what was happening or have too many details. But yeah, another day, and another day of kids being murdered by guns. It's the number one killer of kids in the country is guns. But I guess that's the price we got to pay to have the freedom of owning guns. Anyhow, let me just go and say hi to everybody. We got Jolie. I'm not sure if I'm where the beginning was. I'm not sure if Jolie was first, but that's the first person I've seen is Jolie. So hello, Jolie. Thanks for being here. Nick Rich 56 is here. I'm 26 minutes behind. Stephanie B's here. Hello, Stephanie. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope everything's going out well with the new hip or hips or whatever. Catherine, Real Health Talk. Real Health Talk. Yes, here. Hey, Catherine. Bonnie Malcolm. Hey, Bonnie. Good to see Bonnie. Thanks for coming on in. Catherine Real Health Talk says, hi, TJ. What other horrible mass shooting in the USA? Rotten, horrible. It's always so horrible. And when I first was putting the intro together, when Jen Psaki started crying, I started crying. I just it made me cry too, you know. Catherine says, watch the shooter. Watch, the shooter has a history of being abused. That will be part of this, and every damn article about it is different with different details. Really, about all I've heard about the shooter, and it was the first thing I thought before I even read it or whatever. I thought, I bet you this is a former student, and wouldn't you know it, he was a former student. Who was some messed up asshole, and he decided to go back to his old school and shoot the place up. You know, eight years later. I think he was there in 2017. It was when he, I guess, graduated. We got to do something. We got to do something about this problem. We can't just shrug our shoulders and say, thoughts and prayers. That's the price we pay. Catherine said this never happened when I was a kid. Yeah, I mean, someone will dig out some stories and say, well, yeah, here's a school shooting in 1950, and here's one in 1962. But yeah, they were very, very. It seems like they were very few and far between. And then it seems like since Columbine, it's just been a regular thing, you know, especially since Columbine, which was what, the 90s, mid 90s or something. Sammy Carter's for Eric. Sammy, good to see you from across the pond. Thanks for coming on in. Sammy Carter says, one school shooting in the UK, we banned military-style guns. Result, no school or mass shootings. Yeah, there are so many examples of other countries where they had a mass shooting and then they got serious about gun control or whatever you want to call it, and then it's gone down to like zero. You know, it's we've all seen those charts where the number of gun-related deaths or even mass shootings or whatever, and it has all these countries, and on the little bar chart, it's a little tiny thing, and then when it gets to the United States, it's like way up here. It's so out of proportion. It's not even funny. It's horrible. David Weiss is here from Denver, Colorado. Good to see you, David. Thanks for being here. Oh, is Adam here? Did I skip those? Adam, Good to see you, Adam. Thanks for coming on in. I'm off to a little slow start this morning. As you can tell. Michael Gadgets arrested the ICE crooks. Nick Rich idiots control everything. Barney Malcolm says we do not have to riot. We just have to not be terrified by these clowns. No, we don't have to riot. I think we should peacefully protest, and I think we should march, things of this nature. But let's not confuse that with rioting. Rioting and peacefully protesting and marching are very different things. So. Catherine Middleton will talk low-key and demurred bullshit. That's what he said. He said he's not going to be. Luke Newsom said he's not going to be that. Hey, Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl's here. Squirrel Girl. I always have a hard time saying that. Squirrel Girl is here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming on in. Appreciate you. Nefarious Enough is here. Hey, Nefarious. Hello to you. Thanks for coming by. Hanging out with us for a bit. Nick Rich 924. So now I'm 10 minutes behind in the chat. I did skip down a little bit. I think I can just say Liz. Elizabeth Fernandez is here. Howdy from Liz Fernandez of Arpin, Wisconsin. Yeah, there's Michael McAndrews. I hear you. Audio good. Robert Perez is here from San Diego Way, from down San Diego Way. Good to see Bob Perez, or as I like to say, Robert Perez. What a fine specimen of a man. Top of the morning, everyone, and try to make the best of your day. Adam Welsh says, sorry, it's been a rough night, and it's hot at 6:25 a.m. Are you still in Hawaii, Adam? This global warming must be getting real, because I can remember a day when Hawaii it seemed like it never got over 80 degrees, So Adam says it's hot as hell. Hot as hell. Squirrel Girl says, hello, Jolie. The kitty's much better. Just got home from vet's office. She said big improvements. That's good news. Good news for the kitty. Good to hear the kitty's getting better. Michael McAndrews, the Republicans have terrorized the kids for over 20 years now. Yeah, probably way over 20 years. Yeah, Robert Prince, just another day in America. Okay, guys, I'm going to go get my coffee. I really wanted to have the coffee and everything all before the intro was over, but I just didn't. I wasn't able to. So let me go grab my coffee real quick. You guys can look at my chair. Talk amongst yourselves. than hell. Hot, hot. Hotter than hell. She was hot, hot, hotter than hell. All right. Isn't this riveting? Shoot, I think I left it sitting over there too long. And it's not hotter than hell. The coffee, that is. Oh well. Maybe I put too much cream in it. Cooled it off too fast. Put this lid on. Dang, it's like lukewarm or something. I think I put too much cream in it. Anyhow, let's see here. Where are we at here? Where are we at in the chat today? Aaron West, hi everyone. Sorry I'm late. I had a therapy appointment. It's quite all right. It's quite all right. You didn't miss much. It's just me slurping down some cereal and eating some toast. Adam says Hawaii Island on the. I don't even know what that is. Roxanne 79 is here. Good to see you, Roxanne. I got Gino Maynard. Oh. There's Gino Maynard. Good to see you. I'm just looking at the chat here. Catherine Real Health Talk says the shooter's mother worked for the church. So yeah, she worked there, and I'm pretty sure he was a student there then also. Former student. From the last time he was there was 2017. I don't know if that's when he graduated or whatever, but that's just what I heard real quick. I didn't look at a lot of stuff, so. Catherine Real Health Talk says nobody has the stones to really address gun situation. There are some groups around that advocate gun rights, yet sensible gun control at the same time. Great, but and then continuing, the number of issues within the gun argument are many and wide-ranging. But could we at least, we've seen the polling. We do know that overwhelming majority of Americans are in favor of things like universal background checks. Can we at least get that? I think 70 or 75% of Americans, or maybe it's more, are in favor of universal background checks. Is it too much to at least? There's at least 3 or 4 items that when we talk about gun control or gun safety, that well over 50%. It's usually 50, 60, 70, 75%, sometimes higher. The polling consistently shows Americans are in favor of things like universal background checks, closing gun show loopholes, magazine limits, and then, of course, like assault weapons being either banned or highly regulated. Those might be the top four things, and where overwhelming majority of Americans are in favor of that. Can we at least check those 3 or 4 things off? At least, at the very, very least. But as long as Republicans are in control or have ways of, like, if they have, if we have let's say we have the majority in the Senate and the House, and we have the White House, then they filibuster the shit. We got to figure out ways to get around the filibuster, even when we have majorities, because these goddamn Republicans, they will not give in as long as we have things like Citizens United and people, corporations are people, and we have no campaign finance reform, all this money in politics, then these Republicans are just always going to walk in lockstep with the gun industry and the NRA, and a few Democrats probably to boot. I'm not saying that this is a both siderism type of thing, but someone will point out, yeah, this Democrat voted against gun control and is taking gun money or whatever. But so there's probably a handful of those. There's probably a few of the old, Kirsten Sinema's running around, even though she's not there anymore. But you know what I mean. I'm just saying, there's probably a few of those like her. A few of those dinos, Democrats in name only. Michael McAndrew says, pussies get in the way of common sense gun reform. That's one way of putting it. Let's scoot this a little closer. Alrighty. Gina Maynard says, in my hometown of Stockton, California, at Cleveland Elementary School, 1/17/89, 5 kids dead, 31 wounded. Wow. Roxanne79 says, Jen will be in San Francisco tomorrow night for the Giants game. I'm so excited for him. It's hard to say goodbye. It's just so long for now. I hope the Giants win. Adam Webster says, yes, Catherine, and full of criminals. This island is the slum of the islands. Wow. Stephanie B. lives in Stockton now. Gina Maynard says, I was homeschooled 2 miles away. My friend's younger siblings were wounded. Adam West-ish says, look, narcissism has been the standard for human history. Maybe this disaster will finally expose them for the utter garbage they are. We keep hoping that, we thought Sandy Hook would have done something, and not a goddamn thing. And not for lack of trying. Democrats were trying to get stuff through. Obama was trying to get stuff through, but the Republicans blocked it. And then Uvalde. I mean, my God. Uvalde. Such a horrible, horrible. I mean, they're all horrible. Don't get me wrong. But after Uvalde, you think something would get done? Now, under Biden, they were able to get some stuff through. I forget now what it was. But I recall they did get a couple things through, but pertaining to gun control, but really not anything real significant. But yeah, you would think after things like Sandy Hook and Uvalde, that there would be a huge push to get something through, to get gun control through, and really nothing. Will this be the one that does it? I kind of doubt it. I kind of feel like people, and I don't mean this, maybe not even on a conscious level, maybe subconsciously or whatever. It's like, oh, just two kids died, instead of 20 or 30 or whatever, and then we just move on. I think we've already moved on. Most of the country has probably already moved off of this story already. Unfortunately. Bonnie Malcolm says, Adam Westish, people from the mainland need to stop moving there, and the damn developers need to build elsewhere. The indigenous population has been disrespected for a long time. Adam says it's hurricane season and the pond is empty. I've usually had to worry about 2 feet of water running across my bedroom floor. Nick Rich says, "Let's fill the chat with crazy." I guess was that when I got up? Is that when when I walked away? Adam says, "Bonnie, yes, newcomers are learning the hard way. Facebook is full of people having their homes ripped off, all their appliances stolen, water heater, everything." My son wants to move to Hawaii. Is that not okay? Can the mainlanders, we can't move to Hawaii because we think Hawaii is beautiful and awesome? We're not allowed to move there? Gee, I thought this was a free country. Anyhow. Catherine says, Adam, I met someone a long time ago that said Hawaii was just very rich and very poor, no in between. But that's all I heard. DPD 5844 is here. Hey, DPD, good to see you. Deputy. Says something is severely wrong with a civilized society that teaches their children to prepare for active shooters. Imagine the trauma that these children are living with. This is unacceptable. Yeah, they'll be traumatized for life, to some degree. Adam Webster says, yes, Hawaii is just like the Rock SNL sketch. Either you make $120K a year or you live in the abandoned truck. $120K a year, that's almost like average income nowadays, it seems like. I.e. Johnny, red flag laws. Oh, was that what Biden got through? Or something? A red flag law? Catherine says, TJ, absolutely right. What's the damn problem with universal checks? Nothing. It should absolutely be done, a no-brainer, and some of the other things you mentioned. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I know there's probably 4 or 5 or maybe 6 kind of common, gun control, things that we always talked about, and they pull very, very well. It seems like it would be an easy thing to get those passed, but because of money and politics, it doesn't. Hey, Mr. Spock is here. Good to see Mr. Spock. Live long and prosper. To you, good to see you. I saw your live stream yesterday, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. I enjoyed seeing your chickens and your cats. Your kitty Lynx was a really cool little cat, and is it Hector, the other one? Yeah, I enjoyed it. So thanks for sharing that live stream. It was really very nice to see you out there with your chickens and stuff. And Mr. Spock says, "Hey, fascinating everyone. Just putting nutrients on the plants. Then I don't know, something kicked in and trimming. Got too hot, so I came in." Catherine Real Hot Talk says, gun trafficking is a huge issue, but a case of Guinness that lots of the Republicans are in on that. I don't know about that, but they do get lots of campaign financing, and maybe they get envelopes of cash or something on the side, but they get lots of fundraising from the NRA and things of this nature. Nick Rich 945. So I believe I'm only 9 minutes behind in the chat here. Gino Maynard says, as long as well-regulated militia is ignored, not much will happen. Yeah. And Scalia's, this is which one was that that gun Supreme Court case that pretty much it pretty much changed the whole Second Amendment to mean that it wasn't just about militias, it was about personal gun ownership. And so until that gets changed, nothing will happen much, either. Catherine Real Health Talk says there are so many ways of life around this country. The population of this country is about 341 million. Some people need guns for protection. Yeah, and I'm all for that. I think, but I do think it needs to be very well regulated. If people want to have guns, they should have to go through a universal background check, make sure they're not a felon, convicted felon, make sure they're not an abusive person, make sure they don't have mental issues that, where they're a person that might hurt others or hurt themselves, all those type of things. Michael McAndrews, well-regulated, words they don't understand. Lynn of Waugh is here. Lynn of Washington, maybe? Lino Waugh? Lynn of Waugh. I know, I've said that before. Are you from Washington? And you probably answered, and I probably forgot. But anyhow, Lynn of Waugh says the Supreme Court overturned a federal law that expanded gun background checks and waiting times for purchases. And thank you, Mitch McConnell, for I'm going to say that's got to be illegal what Mitch McConnell did. Certainly unconstitutional, which, the Constitution is the law of our land. Mitch McConnell blocking Obama's picks for Supreme Court was unconstitutional. And we should never let Mitch McConnell live that down. And when he croaks, that should be on his tombstone. That here lies the motherfucker that defied the Constitution by not allowing the President of the United States to get his picks through for a vote, even. Wouldn't even let him vote on it. Roxanne79 says, that made me happy. You read that comment to Jen for me. Big smiles. Thank you, TJ. Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. Adam West says, Columbine, Pulse Nightclub, Vegas. Yeah, right here in Vegas. But those weren't school shootings. Columbine's a school shooting. I mean, we were talking about school shootings, I think, primarily, but that doesn't discount, these other ones too. These are all horrible, all deadly, and you don't see any of this in any other country to this level. I mean, yeah, there's one here or there. There's very few and far between. We have them literally. What's defined as a mass shooting, I think, is it 3 or more people shot at one time or whatever? Literally, we average, I think, at least one a day. Other countries, they'll go years and years before even having one. DPD 5844 says people should know that in the death bill, I don't know what the death bill is, people who purchase silencers will receive tax incentives. People should really start reading what these fuckers are signing into law. I know, and then when if you mention that to one of these gun nuts, then they'll say it's about safety. It's about hearing safety. So your ears are protected or whatever. Wear some goddamn fucking muffler. Those the things over your head. Lindeval said Biden had signed that law in 2021. Catherine Real Health Talk says no cops came. This is mid-thread. She had to take care of the problem herself because nobody else would. Totally self-defense. I guess that was a case of a shooting. Adam says he has a stalker where he lives. The law still hasn't dealt with, and about 14 of his friends still nothing, no action, no help, no nothing. It sucks here. But it does suck being harassed. Barney Balcom says the older I get, the more convinced I am that the conservatism is a mental defect and a lack of empathy. Can you guys hear me better now? I've got the mic. I'm holding my mic a little closer. Come a little closer. Anyhow. Susie Jones is here. Hey, Susie, good to see you. Susie says, hi, y'all. My bestie is here, and we'll be listening while we visit. That's nice. Thanks for having me on in the background while you visit with your bestie. Roxanne79 says, Hawaii is the one flight I could never get a jump seat. Oh, are we allowed to say stewardesses still? Is that not? Am I being politically incorrect? Can say stewardess. Anyhow, but Roxanne says Hawaii is one of the. Looks like I can never get a jump seat. I'd have to pay for a ticket. Maybe one day I'll get there. It's my dream. I've been there one time. It was It was on my honeymoon in 1989, and it was beautiful. We were just on Kauai, which is the most populated island, I believe. That's where Honolulu is. We flew into there, and we just stayed on that island. We didn't do any island hopping, but I absolutely loved it. We rented a little Suzuki. Remember those little Suzuki? What the fuck were they called? They look like little Jeeps. Back in the day, they had those rentals all over the place. Those little Suzuki Jeep thingies. And so I remember we rented one. We drove all the way around the entire island like in one day. And we went to the luau's. We went to like this water park thing, or like a SeaWorld type of thing. We went scuba dive, or not. We went snorkeling, not scuba diving, but snorkeling at I think it's called Hononuma Bay or something. It's pretty close to Diamond Head. It's not too far from Waikiki. We stayed at Waikiki, right on the beach. Beautiful hotel. You could just walk right from our hotel. You go down to the lobby. There would be a bar, and then the bar. There was no doors or anything. You just walked right out to the beach. It was really awesome. 1989. Like I said, I don't think we ever saw 80 degrees. I think it was always like perfect, like 75 degrees or something like that. Every day about 3 in the afternoon, it would be either light rain just for about 15 minutes. The water was beautiful. I absolutely loved it. That was in 1989. I've heard that from people, maybe Adam can attest to this, that it's nothing like that anymore. It's like it's hot and it's just, I don't know. When I was there, it was beautiful. It was perfect. It was a paradise. But I think we've fucked it all up with global warming now, maybe. I don't know. Adam West's, Catherine was asking if Adam could leave the island or whatever. And Adam says, Catherine, I've been trying, but nothing ever comes through. My only option was to move to the West Coast. I just want to get out of the flood zone. I don't want to leave the islands. Get the higher ground, man. Hey, glad to see John Glad. Hello there, John Glad. Jolie says, mainlanders are definitely not welcome in Hawaii. Your son is free to go, but he won't like it. Well, he did visit there, him and his wife. I'm not sure if were they married then, or I forget if it was before I think it was before they were married, but they went to Hawaii and because he's got a friend that lives there, and they stayed with him for a couple weeks and absolutely fell in love with the place. And he says he'd like to go there someday to live. Now, when I was there in 1989, I remember there were stories about don't go to areas that where the locals are, because the locals they hate fucking white people or whatever. I don't know. And but we never had any problems. We were there. We were there for a week. We were there for just 1 week for the honeymoon. We went to all the like touristy areas, but we did drive around the entire island. And I remember seeing a few places where you could tell it was just like little towns, and like it was all like just locals and stuff. I think we stopped at a McDonald's, and we didn't get mugged or anything. So I don't know. Maybe we just got lucky. But I just think that that's pretty sad that people are so prejudiced against us poor white people. And I don't think we should take it anymore. This has to stop. Anyhow, Mr. Fox says cheap flights to Singapore. Adam wishes. Busker your way across Asia. Adam, move to Thailand. I've been thinking about moving to Thailand. I could live there for like probably $1,500 US a month, and you could live really, really well. Maybe even cheaper if you're really good with your money and everything. Anyhow, Adam says I can't afford a passport. There's just no money. Yeah, Adam's in a tough spot. You're in a tough spot. So hang in there, Adam. Do the best you can. You know, you seem to be a survivor. So hang tough, man, until things get better. You know. Johnny Katz is here. Hey, Johnny Katz. Texting my name. Is Johnny Katz IE? The IE? Johnny? I think, maybe. Roxanne says, Mr. Spock, you had a live stream on your YouTube channel? Yeah, Mr. Spock was live yesterday. Mr. Spock says, laughing out loud, old Hector. Yeah, I liked old Hector. I liked Lynx and everything too. Yeah, it was cool. You guys check it out. Check out Mr. Spock's channel. You can see his chickens and his cats. All the shrubbery. Freevent28's here. Freevent says Hawaii was built on sugarcane industry, which is kind of ironic because I heard they don't even hardly grow sugarcane there anymore. They moved it all to, I don't know, the Philippines or something. Adam would know. Adam could correct me on that. Mr. Spock says Fancy always shows up and chats. Adam West says every single thing I do has been replaced by AI. Linevois says, Mr. Spock, it was very fun seeing your chickens and kitties. I watched so many of your vids. All right. Johnny Cat says, Jolie, apologies for the delayed responses. I've been wrestling my handle name. I guess there's a compromise. That is one of the keys to life, I think, having to make compromises. Johnny Cat says, just remember the word gun never appears in the Second Amendment, much like how abortions weren't mentioned in the Constitution. They're not covered. Keep that in mind. What's the wording? But doesn't it say arms? And arms are weapons, and guns are weapons. Anyhow, I do have a. Where is my Constitution? Oh, it's over there. I don't feel like getting it. Adam West says, Westish says, Republicans don't care about the Constitution at all. The Constitution is pesky. It's a pesky. It gets in the way of all their hate and racism. Jolie says they just need to enforce the well-regulated part. Funny how they always leave that part out when they're talking about their rights. Yeah, whenever you go, I've actually seen this in gun shops or like a sporting goods place that has guns. Not that I really frequent gun shops, but I have been in a couple gun shops. But I remember going into where I grew up in Apple Valley. There was a sporting goods store, and they had a gun section with guns and things, and they had posted up there, not the entire Second Amendment, but just the dot. The right to bear arms shall not be abridged or whatever it says. And they didn't put the first part. They only put the part that they like on there. Mr. Spock, TJ likes the MF swearing. Who's the MF? Now who's the MF? Christina Weibel's on a smoke break. Hey, Christina Weibel, good to see you. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Smoke them if you got them. Michael McAndrews says, my buddy just walked through and said, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Nick Rich, 10 a.m. in Vegas. I'm 12 minutes behind in the chat. Susie Jones says, Nick Rich, good morning. Good to see you. Lori was in the power room. She's back. So back to listening. Is it power room or did you mean powder room? I don't know. Christina, well, they want military at the schools now. Oh, they want. By they, I think we're talking about Trump and his minions and his followers. Any excuse to militarize and make this a complete just police state, militarize everything, you know. DPD 5844 says, it is also important to remember that the person, I guess we're talking about this particular shooter in Minnesota, would have been flagged by the FBI for their insane postings, but because they have disbanded the FBI, those days are gone. Yeah, when we have fucking nimrods like Kash Patel and fucking Dan Bonholio in charge of the FBI, yeah, we might as well not even have an FBI. Yeah, Chris Doug is here. Hello, Chris Doug. Good to see you. Hey, there's Sandy Foltz. I'm having a great time in Wausau, Wisconsin. I'm so glad to hear that, Sandy. I know you were looking forward to it for a long time now. You've been looking forward to that trip, and you're there with your son, and I think that's awesome. And I'm really happy for you. So enjoy your time there. WW coming in with a $1.11 super chat. Yippee out there to WW. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you. Give you a thumbs up and a heart. Thank you. And now I will commence my cussing and swearing at WW. No, just kidding. But thanks for doing that, W. And we got Kimchi here. The goddess Kimchi. Thank you very much for coming on in. Kimchi says, hi, beautiful geniuses and Trucker John. I guess I'm not a part of the beautiful genius group. But thank you for coming in. I do appreciate you. We got Michael McAndrews with a $2.22 super chat. So yippee to Michael McAndrews. Thank you so much. Thumbs up and a heart for you. It says you started it, W. Adam Webster says Oahu is Honolulu. Oh wait, what did I say? Kauai? I've been to Oahu, I think. Kauai is where I grew up. Yeah, Oahu. I guess I said Kauai, didn't I? I don't know why I said Kauai, because we definitely flew into Oahu. That's where the big airport is, right? Oahu, and yeah, Honolulu and Waikiki, Diamond Head. That's all on Oahu. I don't know why I said Kauai. I have no idea how I did that, because I don't know all the islands. I couldn't name all the islands, but I do know the difference between, or I do know that Oahu is, I would call it the main island. It's not the big island, because the big island is, I guess, is Hawaii, right? It's big because of just the sheer square miles of it or whatever. But in terms of population, Oahu is the biggest, right? Am I getting all that right? Or did I screw that up also? Anyhow, yeah, I don't know why I said Kauai. I've never even been to Kauai. I don't know why I said Kauai. Maybe because I was thinking like I kind of wish we would have done a little bit of island hopping when we were there. You know, it was like see Maui and Kauai and stuff. Anyhow, we didn't. We just were on Oahu. I don't know why I said Kauai. If I did, I don't remember now. Did I say it? I guess I did. WW, I know what you mean. They have them in South Padre Island. Are you talking about the little Suzuki? They're really cool. I really liked them. I wanted to get one at one time. They look like little Jeeps. Suzuki Samurai. Yeah, is that what that was? I guess that was what that was, huh? Samurai. Johnny Cat says we should have signed different levels of firearm licenses, much like the vehicles. You have a Class C, Class B, Class A, and for the most dangerous weapons. Yeah, I could go for that. And I've also often thought, like, you know, I don't know, like, I think to get like a, at least in most places, to get a permit, a carry permit, like a concealed carry permit, or even an open carry permit. I think the now I could be wrong, and it might be different in different states. Of course, yeah, probably is different, but I think for the most part, those are pretty good kind of background checks that you go through to get those. At least in California, it is. But I think I don't know. I'm not. Maybe I'm just talking out my ass now. But I've always thought that it should just be that way across the board. Like to buy any gun, it should be like almost the same process as if you were applying for a CCP, whatever they call it, concealed carry permit. Because I've always thought that those were pretty good in terms of background checks and things of this nature. But then the gun nuts will say, no, this is a constitutional right, and a lot of these gun nuts are like, I shouldn't even have to do anything. It's in the Constitution. They call it, I think they call it like constitutional carry or something like that. And they just think the Constitution is my permit, and I should be able to have any fucking weapon I want, anytime, anywhere, any place. Again, like Jolie said, ignoring the well-regulated part. But anyhow, that aside, I thought that might be a good way to go. Just make it the same process or similar to getting a carry permit, having to go through that type of a background check for any weapon that you buy for any reason, whether it's just for hunting, whether it's for home protection, whether it's to carry on you, on your person, or carry with you. It should be, that type of a process of background checks, the cooling off periods and all that kind of stuff. Johnny Cat says maybe you have to go to your local armory and your own weapon, like check your Well, there are places. I think that's how some countries do it. There are countries that do that where you can have a gun, but it's going to be stored at the armory, and if you want to go get it, you got to go check it out. You got to say how many bullets you got and all that kind of shit, and then when you're done, killing people or whatever it is you're doing. No, I shouldn't even laugh about it. But you go, I guess, target shooting, or if you're hunting or whatever you're doing, and then you go back and you bring it back, and you got to have. I don't know if you have to bring your shell casings, but I mean, I think they keep track of like how many bullets you shot and all that kind of shit. But there's definitely things we could do that we're not doing that we need to do. Sandy Full says, "Hey TJ, I had a free breakfast at the hotel. Was it like a real breakfast, or was it just like, bagels and orange juice?" But in either case, that could be good. Hopefully, it was a really good full breakfast. Adam Washington says, "Hana numa oleo awai." The weather is out of control, either crazy rain or dry. WW says it costs way too much to live there for what you get. Good weather is overrated. I don't know about that. I think good weather, but in all honesty, I think you could live in the San Diego area, down San Diego way, down near where Robert Perez is living, and get probably just about as good as weather as Hawaii gets. Now, granted, there are areas in the San Diego area that are very expensive too, but I think you can find places that are affordable. And they have, I think, probably the best weather overall in the whole lower 48, consistently day in and day out. Sunny Folds, I had gone swimming. Awesome. Swimming is good. Swimming is good for you, and it's refreshing and everything else like that. DPD 5844 says Christopher Wray testified. Now, this Christopher Wray, was he one of the heads of the FBI or something? Christopher Wray says testified before Congress that we are under threat. He's like a former, right? We are under threat from the white nationalist groups and neo-Nazis because there are no longer guards at the hen house. The wolves will go unchecked. That is pretty horrifying. That is pretty horrifying. Mad Mac is here. Hey, Mad Mac, Slava Ukraini. Absolutely. I'm just worried that my mic's going to fall off of my stick, because I've just got this tape and it's kind of flimsy. You don't want your mic to fall off your stick, man. That's the most embarrassing thing. When your little tiny mic falls off your stick, it is pretty embarrassing. So, don't want that to happen. I don't want it to happen. Freevent 28 says 4 number shot considered a mass. 4. I guess it's 4 people shot is considered a mass shooting. One school massacre in UK in 1980s, not every year, right? That's kind of what I was saying. Like in other places, they'll have one every now and then, here and there, go years and years and years without ever having one. We have, if not a school shooting, but we have some type of a shooting of, I think actually, in a lot of people count 3 or more here in America. And we have that like every day. We have a shooting of 3 or more people in one event. I think we average at least 1 a day. No other country comes close. They might average 1 a year. Mad Mac says, nice job on the vids at the beginning. Thank you, Mad Mac. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that you like those. Pardon me for coughing. I don't know why I'm coughing. If I lived in Hawaii, I would live in the part where there weren't mean people that didn't like the whatever I am. I don't know. WW says, we never locked our doors before Columbine. We never had security before Sandy Hook. Are you talking about at schools? WW, I'm thinking about getting a doorbell camera. Do it. Jolie says, my brother and one of my aunts and a cousin have all lived in Hawaii at one time or another. All came back because of how they were treated there. It's almost like you got, even though that's a U.S. state, it's the 50th state or whatever, it's almost like you got to find an expat community to live, if you're going to live there. You know? There's got to be like a mainland an ex-mainland community that's gated. I don't know. Adam Wishes with $1.10. Thank you so much, Adam. You didn't have to do that, but thank you so much. Yippee going out to Adam. $1.10 super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Now, guys, I don't want you guys doing that if you know, if it's something you can't afford to do. Liking, subscribing, sharing are all free things and really do help out the show. And so whenever someone makes an actual monetary contribution, I just want you to know I'm very, very thankful and very, very appreciative of that. But it's appreciated, but it's never required. And so when you guys do that, it's kind of extra special. It's very nice of you. So I just want to say, yeah, how much I appreciate that. Johnny Cass says, just remember, if you got a doorbell cam, the police will have access to it whenever they want. It's in the terms and conditions. So I guess don't do anything illegal in front of your doorbell or something. I don't know. Make sure you're on this side of the door if you're doing something that you don't want people to see. Which is probably good advice, whether or not you have a doorbell camera or not. Anyhow, Kimchi says around $600 a month in Costa Rica, Colombia, and Peru. Believe it or not, they are safe, and a Romance language is easier to learn. I've thought about Costa Rica. Kimchi and I have kind of had these conversations before. I recall now, because I've been looking. I looked at Thailand. I looked a little bit at the Philippines. I looked at Costa Rica. I've looked at Mexico. I've looked at Spain. I think there's even places like, where else? Like Turkey or something. It seems kind of weird. But where there are these big expat communities, for one thing, it's good to have the expats there. And also where you get the most bang for your buck. And one of the most bang for your bucks is Thailand. But I just don't think I could. I don't know about the humidity, but Costa Rica, my daughter went to Costa Rica last summer on vacation. She said it was lovely. She said it was really great, but it was a bit humid. But I think I can put up with the humidity if it's not too hot, and if you're near the coast, it's a little bit different. I don't know. But anyhow, but yeah, Costa Rica was probably number 2 on my list. Some parts of Mexico, they have big expat communities there. I would feel a little bit safer, I guess, if I was with a bunch of expats, and maybe if you're in a gated community or something. And you can get a pretty good bang for your buck there too. Colombia, Colombia. I didn't really. I think I did look into that a little bit. But by looking into that, I just mean I was watching some YouTube videos about people that have moved there, like expats. I don't think I checked into Peru. I don't remember watching any Peru ones, but definitely Costa Rica and Colombia, and Thailand. Those are like my top 3 probably. Johnny Katz says, yes, i.e. Johnny and Jonathan Earl are now known as Johnny Katz. It's funny because there's a guy here in Vegas. He's like an entertainment reporter. He's kind of somewhat well known, I guess, in Vegas. And he's an entertainment reporter, but he does a lot of events. And his full name is like John. It's like Katzenmeyer, and it's spelled with a K. It's like Katzenmeyer or something like that. But everybody calls him Johnny Katz. So anyhow, so we have our Johnny Katz here. There's Johnny Katz, for whatever reason, I couldn't get my original name back. I guess I'll accept this compromise temporarily. If you've changed your name more than twice within a 14-day period, then you're kind of locked out from changing your name until that 14 days is up. I think you can only change 2 times in a 14-day period is what I'm trying to say. So it might not let you. That might be why you couldn't, change back or whatever. Owen 11,793 is here. Muskets. Yes, and during the time of the Constitution, that's the type of weaponry they were dealing with. That's the type of gun. It was what ball and powder or whatever the fuck they call it. Muskets, single shot. And you'd have to like fucking do the thing. That didn't look right. But anyhow, you know what I mean. A lot of this, they were doing a lot of this, and when you're doing a lot of that, it's hard to kill a lot of people in a fast period. So if the founding fathers had any inkling of the type of weaponry we're dealing with now, I think they may have worded the Second Amendment a lot differently and less ambiguously, perhaps. Adam Washington says Brazil does sugar, I think, though they say it would be economically feasible. Once again, a lot of the land has been sold off to developers. It's very harmful to the environment. Hemp would be better. Oh, absolutely. It should be just hemp everywhere. Kimchi says, I will try to remember Jonathan. Johnny Katz. I like Johnny Katz. Johnny Katz is here. And here's Johnny. Honey, I'm home. WW says, in the early days of firearms, the gunpowder was dangerous. You only loaded your weapon when you were ready to fire. Yeah, because otherwise you might set yourself on fire. Mr. Spock, Dr. Katz. Dr. Katz. Do-do-do-do. Owen 11793 says MAGA has a hard time with the definition of tyranny. Yeah, remember they're the ones that were saying like something about soaking the ground with the blood, fight the tyranny and whatever. And then they elected a fucking tyrant. Gina Maynard, the right to bear arms and claws. Johnny Katz says, Mr. Spock, how are you doing these days? I'm going into your channel name so I can pop in. We might be able to put Mr. Spock's link in the chat here at some point. If you like watching chickens and cute cats, and also, hearing Mr. Spock talk is nice. You kind of can put a voice to the name there, and Mr. Spock seems like a really nice guy. I enjoyed his video. Christina Weibel says, I'm back. I'm good. I'm back and I'm good. I had my smoke. I got my smoke break going at my view of nature. John, they wanted a United Police States of America. Oh, yeah. Well, that's certainly what Donald Trump and Stephen Miller want, and that whole group. WW says large supplies of ammo and or fireworks are still extremely volatile. Yeah, but wasn't there a big fireworks place somewhere in the States that blew up one time? I'm sure more than once, but within the last 10 years, I think there was a huge one, a huge fire. Just exploded all over the place. Gina Maynard, so will Donnie put National Guard at the churches now? It's gone through his tiny little pea brain. What? Alvin Stube. Hey, Alvin, good to see you. Thanks for popping on in. But look at this. His neighbor's dog got his paw cut off by a train yesterday? Oh, my God. It's going to be okay. Poor little pooch. That's horrible. I mean, and I'm glad he's going to be okay. But, like, I'm trying to imagine, like, how he just got just his paw cut off. Was he trying to play Beat the Train or something? I don't know. Well, that'll teach him. Catherine Real Hot Talk says the FBI is okay with bad shit too. They are just very selective with what they choose to address. Bastards. Kimchi, I am listening but need to clean. You can lurk while you work. You can clean while you glean. I don't know. Johnny Cat says the Confederacy of Beavis. If I could only remember who said that. I don't know. I never heard that before. Catherine says that ICE wants to use Navy base in northern Illinois. Bastards. They're a bunch of bastards. Bastards. I'll tell you, they're bastards. Just a bunch of bastards. Christina Weimel says, to finish my statement, you go to the doctors for approval, and then when you get it, RFK will be making sure you don't. Did you hear people are calling for his resignation? Of course, they're just Democrats, but I've been hearing people calling for his resignation. Michael McAndrews, have you ever been to California? Is that a reference to Quaaludes or something? Maybe? I don't know. DPD 5844 says 4 children were just killed in Kyiv. Putin struck the British EU mission and the British Council. Buildings have been struck in Kyiv. They were deliberately targeted. Everything Trump touches dies. Well, then I hope Britain just goes in all in, man. They should just send airstrikes. They should just do sorties over fucking Moscow. Of course, you know, start a world war here. I didn't really read on it, but I saw just a headline of something about how I guess it was last night or yesterday, but whatever it was night for them. Russia had launched the one of their biggest, bombing nights of the whole war. I guess that was probably what you were talking about. Freewood 28 says, Joey, I am an international man of mystery. Hail me out is dangerous. Hail me out. I don't know what that means. Gina Maynard. RFK Jr. is a great example of falling upwards. He's a great example of a supposedly well-educated person who is a dipshit. WW says, my dad and I went on a cruise through all the major islands. I decided that I wanted to move to Hawaii until I learned the expense. I'm too poor to live there. You and me both. You and me both. But you could live like a fucking king in Thailand, W. You would live like a fucking king there. Josh Sees is here. Good to see Josh Sees in the lounge. Thumbs up. I'm late. And what did my daddy always used to say? What did he always used to say? He used to say, better late than never. Just like that. Chris Doug says, RFK Jr. said he can tell a sick child just by looking at him. If we don't get rid of this fucking crackpot quack, we are all going to die. I know. See, that's the thing. we're only, what, 7 or 8 months into this goddamn administration. In 2016 when 2017 when Trump took office, we didn't get COVID until 2020, right? So my point is there's still plenty of time for something really horrible to happen. It really isn't a question of if, but more of when. We've already seen some horrible things, but I think we're going to see something, or there's potential to see something just as horrible, if not more so, than the fucking pandemic, and that's scary. WW says, in a time when the government becomes tyrannical, the people should have the means to overthrow it. Yeah, and that type of thing was written when there was a much more even playing field, because everyone had muskets and shit, So I don't think we could be like the citizens could be ever on a equal playing field with the U.S. military, and I don't think they should be. I don't think we should all be able to have fucking nukes or whatever, or even missiles and bombs and even stuff like that, even tanks and rocket launchers, or we shouldn't. The average person should not have that kind of thing, but that's what it would take to be on an equal playing field or whatever. What we really need is tanks. That's as I was just saying, yeah. Where's One Vision? He'll tell you all about tanks. Johnny Cat says, we also have the ability and technology to put gun ranges in schools safely. We let kids have bows and arrows. If we taught children to respect firearms and to be knowledgeable, many lives would be saved. Maybe, I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of people right now, Johnny Katz. I haven't gone down into the chat here, that are probably going to be vehemently opposed to that idea. I don't know. I think guns. You're right though. They should definitely be. If anyone's around a gun, whether it's a child or an adult, everyone who handles a firearm should be taught how to respect the firearm and to handle it safely as possible. And I don't think that there are in most states any type of provision, especially when you're talking about an adult buying a gun. They could just get the gun. That I think there should be a proficiency test or something. Christina Weibel says, shut down the gun manufacturers. Okay, I don't know how we do that in a free country. I don't know how we do that without passing legislation, and I don't know how we do that when we have Republican-run Congress and things of this nature, a Supreme Court that would probably block all that anyhow. Nick Rich, 22 past the hour, never too late. So I'm 25 minutes behind the chat now. Owen says, you could have an AR-15, but not a set of brass knuckles for a switchblade or any number of other weapons. It makes sense. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Gina Maynard, sovereign citizens. That's what I was talking about, like constitutional carry, I think. Gina Maynard, sovereign citizens level derp. I'm not shooting, I'm constitutioning. Christina's going on another smoke break. Hey, smoke them if you got them. It's one of those days, I guess. Christina over there chain smoking. Damon Dog, the big dog's here. Hey, Damon Dog, good to see you. Are you going to go to the was it the Veterans March or whatever? I don't know if they're calling it a march in DC. I did see some videos with the Jolly Good Giant. What's that his name? Or Ginger Good Giant or whatever. And yeah, they've got a group of veterans there, and they're watching. I guess just to watch these National Guard. Keep an eye on them, you know. Anyhow, Damon Dog says, I found my hunter's safety class certificate from the NRA in 1978 online. Back in the day, the NRA was a gun safety organization. In the 90s, they turned into a gun manufacturing lobby. Yep, exactly. Yep. Oh, it says, then you're just talking into the end of a stick. Yeah, if your mic falls off the stick, then you're just talking to a stick. Robert Perez says, if coming to San Diego to live, stay away from El Cajon because of the crackheads on the street, and stay away from Doing Valley. Way too many flies. Spring Valley. Yeah, from Spring Valley. Thanks for the tip. Thanks for the heads up on that, Robert. Johnny Cat says, I wonder if you glue some magnets on your mic. Well, I'm just going to order, I have this microphone here. I don't know if you can see it. See, I bought this one. Really blends in with the shirt, but I got this microphone here. If you guys remember. I don't have it hooked up yet. I'm waiting for this one little adapter. Now, someone told me that if I can get the adapter and plug it into my phone, that it will work. That adapter is supposed to come sometime between today and Tuesday or something. So if that works, then I'll use this mic. If it doesn't work, then I'm just going to order some more lavaliers or a DJI. They do have a DJI that has it's a really looks like it's really good. It's a little magnet you put inside your shirt, and then the DJI mic will just be right wherever the magnet is. I might get one of those, or I just might get some more that are similar to this one that has the clip. The reason I taped this on it is the clip broke. But I want to see if this one mic will work or not first before I do all that. So we'll see. Should be finding out within the next few days here. John Glass says the NRA does not manufacture guns. No, did anyone say that? I don't think anyone said that. We did say that the NRA has become the number one gun lobbyists. They lobby for the gun manufacturers. They lobby on their behalf to get legislation either passed in their favor or to block legislation that would be what they deem as that would somehow restrict gun sales or whatever. But yeah, I don't think anyone in this chat has said that the NRA manufactures guns. Damon Dog says, hey, Roxanne 79, just an hour or so, and Jen leaves. I'm sad for you. They're going to be okay, Damon Dog. They're going to get back together real soon, and Jen's going to get over there to Portland. Gino Maynard says, don't talk loudly while carrying your stick. Okay. I'll try not to talk too loudly. Michael McAndrews, the guns are for pussies. Gee, Michael's really using the P word a lot today. Christina Weibel, the NRA is nothing but a lobby now. They enable guns to flow. Yep. Roxanne79 says, Damon Dog, thanks a lot, bro. I've been a faucet of tears the last few days, but he's been really awesome at being supportive, positive, and uplifting. So we have everything to look forward to. So let's be happy. Oh, Roxanne, yeah, don't cry. You guys will be back real soon. Christina Weibel says, money is what it's all about. These people make money from gun violence. Yeah, as long as they make the money, they don't give a fuck how many dead kids they got to walk over, to get to their money. The Soulcraft is here. Hey, Soulcraft. Talking about the Soulcraft. Hello, Soulcraft. Thanks for coming on in. Welcome to the chat room. Welcome to the chat room. Doobie 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 doo. Catherine Real Health Talk says, I hear Portugal is nice. Do they have a big expat community there? And does the U.S. dollar go a long way there? Those are kind of the two main things, Chris Doug says, I've been to Costa Rica. One drawback, it rains a lot. Year round, says Chris Doug. That's why it's so lush, so green and lush there. Robert Perez says, I've lived in Peru for 3 years, and believe me, you will get tired of how backwards the people think there are. They don't use common sense in Peru. Good to know. Good to note that. I didn't have Peru on my list. I think my short list, if I were to leave the country, and to live off my retirement or whatever, I think it was between Thailand, Costa Rica, and somewhere in Mexico. Those are my top 3. And mainly Mexico because it would still be pretty close to my family. Thailand is like a 20-hour fucking plane trip and expensive, I think, the plane trip. So it's not like you just get on the plane anytime and whatever. Costa Rica is that's pretty close. That's not too far of a plane ride, not compared to Thailand. And I haven't really checked the prices, but I think it's probably, half the price of a Thailand ticket. And then Mexico, depending on where you live in Mexico, I could probably just drive to California, or if it's pretty far, it's a pretty quick flight, short flight. So those are my top 3. Damon Dog, Belize is pretty nice too. I was thinking about Belize too. Belize is pretty nice too, and the official language is English. I did kind of look at Belize a little bit, and it looks very beautiful. And it's just right across the bay from Colombia, all that shit, and even Costa Rica and all that shit. Belize though, yeah, that was on my radar a little bit. I really haven't thought about any of this stuff for quite a while though. I kind of was going through this phase probably a year and a half ago where I was really looking at all these videos about all these places and stuff. And I really haven't thought about it for too much for 6 or 7 months or 9 months or something. But Josh C says in the Boy Scouts we'd go to the police gun range every second Wednesday. There was 2 old retired veteran cops that taught us safety and marksmanship and cleaning and maintenance. That's pretty cool. That's the type of stuff that everyone should go through. If they're going to get guns, I think they should have to have a certification. Just like, and I know people will say that driving a car is not a right, it's a privilege, and owning guns is a right. You know, they'll say it's a Second Amendment right, so there shouldn't be any type of certification. You know, you should just be able to get it. You want a gun, you should just be able to get it. But I think it'd be nice if we could have some laws, some common sense laws that would state that, you know, if you're going to be a gun owner, you have to be certified. You have to pass a test, and there could be places where you could get training. I mean, you know, I guess you'd pay for it, but there should be an ample amount of places where you could get proper gun training, gun safety training, and all that kind of stuff. And then you get a certification, and then if you want to own a weapon, you have to be certified. Just like, you know, I'm a Class A driver, CDL, and if I want to haul hazmat, I got to have a certification. If I want to pull doubles or triple trailers, I got to be certified for that. You know, all that shit. If I'm operating with air brakes, I got to be certified for that. You know, I mean that's what a more common sense approach would be. But then, of course, the gun nuts are like, nope. I have the right, Second Amendment right to own a gun, no matter what. Hey, Teresa TAK is here. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on into the Driver's Lounge today. Always good to have you coming on in and hanging out with us. I do appreciate you. WW says, my parents taught me DEI. Did they now? Roxanne79 says, I'm already planning my trip to Portland. And he, meaning Jen, has a couple of dresser drawers full of clothes and stuff here. So he's definitely coming back. We had a wonderful time together. So how long is this long range relationship going to be? I mean, I'm not that you guys are breaking up. I mean, but how long before you guys, you know, can be in the same city, in the same place? Is that possible? You know, I know jobs and things might make that difficult, but you guys are on different. This is like a bi-coastal relationship. Is that going to be? Is there any plans for it to be not bi-coastal? I wonder. Inquiring minds want to know. Look at that, Teresa TAK. Welcome to Driver. Thank you, Christina, for becoming a member. Did you just now become a member? Teresa, thank you. You're going to get a yippee. I do appreciate you becoming a driver. We do have memberships starting at $1.99 a month. I don't know where you can find such quality entertainment as this for $1.99 a month. So if you want to become a member, you can do what Teresa did. I think there's some place you push a button somewhere and it'll tell you how to be a member. Thank you, Teresa. I do appreciate you so much. Welcome to the club. Welcome to being a driver. You are now a driver. You're a driver of the show. WW says you can grow 3 crops of corn a year in Hawaii, only 1 in Illinois. Because Lord knows we need more corn. Catherine Real Talk, nice, the Shining reference, TJ. Here's Johnny. Mr. Spock, hemp was a big rope business back in the day. Yeah, they used to make hemp things that they used to make all kinds of things out of hemp, is what I'm trying to say. Roger Dodger says some things will never happen in this country, and reasonable gun control is one. We need to focus on needs that are possible or likely. Time and energy are finite. I don't like to say never. I don't like to use the word never, but I do get you. I do get you. I understand. I mean, we've been talking about this for 50 years, or who knows, or longer. Um, so I absolutely agree that it's very difficult when we're going up. The odds are stacked against us. We have the huge, all the big money, gun lobbyists. We've got money in politics. We have Republicans that are obstructionists. We have a Supreme Court that certainly is, set up by the Republicans. It's not going to be easy, but I'm not going to say never. And like I said, if we could at least get some of those the most popular ones through, I think we might have a chance of getting universal background checks through. I think we might have a chance of getting assault weapons, if not completely done away with or made illegal, at least make it like a machine gun where you have to pay extra money to get the stamp or the ticket, wherever it is, to be able to have one of those guns. Make that harder to get. Anything that you can do, any obstacle we can do, is going to save lives. It might not ever completely stop shootings and killings, but any obstacle we can put, anything we can do that makes the process a little bit harder is going to save lives, in my opinion. So I'm not going to say never, but I do understand the sentiment, for sure. WW says, Donnie said yesterday or the day before, he's not a dictator, but it was okay to be a dictator as long as you get rid of crime. I believe what he said was, he goes, the story is I'm a dictator. But people are saying that as long as if I get rid of the crime, they'd rather have a dictator. Something like that. Something along those lines. Jolie's got the Mr. Spock link to Mr. Spock's channel if you guys want to go check out. Not right now, but afterwards. Go check out Mr. Spock. You can see what a great guy Mr. Spock is, and him and his chickens, and his wonderful cats. I'm really getting into this chair. I'm like leaning back. I got my head on the pillow. That's why I can hold the mic. I can almost just fall asleep. Let you guys just do the show. Chris Doug says the most amazing thing I saw in Hawaii was the cattle ranches. You want to talk about happy cows, abundant sunshine, cool breezes off the Pacific Ocean, and no flies attacking them. Bovine heaven. Really, there's no flies. It's a no-fly zone. But Damon Dog, is it illegal to throw fireworks at eyes? I'm going to say probably. DBD 5844 says, just remember Thomas Fugate, the 22-year-old who is in charge of domestic terrorism, which roots out school shooters, has been disbanded by 75%. Now, anyone who says they don't want to kill us is lying. Okay. Anna Moore's here. Hey, Anna Moore, good to see you. And it says, hello to TJ and my fellow trucklers. Just got back from shopping with my kid. Have you gotten over the shock of the sticker shock or the prices? Marshall Jones says, my friend's mom from school got blown up at a firework factory. Wow, that's horrible. Sorry to hear that, Marcia. I'm just now getting to the part where about the, I guess apparently about the puppy. How did that happen? people are responding to that. It's just so far apart. Roxanne says the pup must have had his paw caught on something. It would have moved for sure, if possible, from the train. Yeah, poor little guy. Catherine Real Hill Talk says Phil Ittner and Malcolm Nance really tell about what Ukraine is all about. Absolutely. Absolutely. Phil Ittner has been like embedded over there, since the beginning of the war as a reporter. Malcolm Nance went over there and joined up with the, I don't know what you call it. I forget. But they have I mean, he was actually carrying a gun and actually, I think, fighting Russians, actually shooting and firing. I mean, this guy is an old, former naval intelligence officer, and and he's very well, I guess, trained and everything. And he went over there and actually fought for a bit in the war. So I think I trust whatever they have to say about this situation. Teresa TAK says, I saw and heard Trump admitted that Democrats outsmarted the GOP. Wow, huh? Was that just recently he said that? And there's Jolie with a link to Fancy's channel. You can check out Fancy. She's got some really interesting videos. She makes these little songs, and like, what was it? Was it Fightin' Purse? That's a good song. That's a really good song. I guess she made that through an AI generator or something. I don't know. It's a really snazzy sort of up tempo kind of country type of song, and it's really good. Catherine Real Health Talk says I knew a lady that moved to Taiwan years ago to teach English. She never came back to the States. She stayed in Taiwan. Mr. Spock says $1,500 a month is comfortable in Thailand. Yeah, I think so. I think you could do well. I think you could do okay. $1,500 a month. I think you can get all your needs. You could pay your rent. You get your food, whatever transportation you need, your medical, your entertainment. I think you could, as long as it's not extravagant, I think you could do that. $1,500 will go a lot further there than it will here. I mean, you can't even live on $1,500 here. You need more than that for the most part. Teresa says Trump's rating sucked the first time because he did not do anything about COVID. Yeah. Roxanne says, Julie, do you have Mr. Spock's link to his channel? I can't find it. Yeah, if you just scroll back up a little bit. I think I just passed it. If you can go, sometimes it won't let you scroll back. Like, I'm not seeing it now, but I thought I saw it. I saw it. Where is it? Oh, there it is. So yeah, you have to kind of scroll back up, and it's there. It's up there a little ways. Michael McAndrews, I find it very hard to believe anyone voted for Trump even the first time. I don't find it hard to believe that anyone voted for him, but I do find it hard to believe that he won. Teresa says Trump's approval rating really sucks this time. I wonder why. I feel it's in the 20s, not in the 30s. I feel they still lie about Trump's approval rating, make it higher than it is. And even with that, it's still like one of the lowest ever approval ratings. Damon Dog says, I'm probably staying home. The protest at Union Station was a success. Yeah, they were at Union Station. That's where I think I saw the Ginger Good Giant. Is where they were. That's where they were at. Yeah. Damon Dog, I saw the microphone unboxing. Yeah, so I have it here. I still have it all set up. I'm just waiting for an adapter to come that I ordered. I had to order it. I went to 3 different stores. I went to Walmart, Best Buy, and Target. None of them had it. They didn't have it in stock, and the only one I could order from was Walmart for this USB-C female ending to the Lightning, male Lightning. So Christina's dad isn't feeling well today. Sorry to hear that, Christina. Hope your dad does better. He says he's 85. So, and Christina doesn't smoke in the house. Has to go outside to smoke. Here is another posting of Mr. Spock's YouTube channel. If you want to check that out. Bob Perez says the NRA is a Russian lobby group now. Funny how everything goes back to Russia. Russia is not a throwaway, joke. It's for real. The fucking Russians they've always, even before Putin, they've always wanted to destroy America. And Putin has taken it to a whole new level. Their backing of Trump, Putin's backing of Trump, is so that America will fall. The Soulcraft is another one whose dad is poor health. So he sat with his dad all night in hospice. So no sleep, obviously. He gets confused on where he's at, if he's having surgery. Last night was rough. We're bringing home tomorrow. I know, it's a tough time. My dad was in hospice. But the thing about my dad, when my dad was in hospice, like we knew that, okay, that was the end. And it was just sort of like death watch. But my dad, because he was home, he went home. It was like quite a few weeks. Like I remember going and visiting him, and he was just up and around and walking and talking. It was almost like there was nothing even wrong with him, at first. And then I went back out on the road, and then a few weeks later, probably like a month later, is when my brother said, "Yeah, you need to get back home now." So from that time, where he was just up and talking, and you wouldn't even know, you could hardly even know that he was sick. And then in a few weeks that I was on the road, then he got progressively worse. And my brother was like, "Yeah, you should probably get home. I don't think there's much longer." So I came in off the road, went over and stayed with them. for really just the last few days of his life, and he was pretty much out of it. It was really stark, the difference between a few weeks earlier when I had been there visiting to when I came back a few weeks later, and he was just always just in bed. He was on, kind of meds, and he was taking, I guess it was morphine. Like my brother was giving these things where he could just sort of like suck on it or kind of wipe it in his mouth, just to try to help, make him comfortable. And he was pretty much just sleeping all the time. And there was a few times where he would wake up, and when he did wake up, he was very, very aware of his surroundings. He knew I was there. He sat up, we talked, and just before he died, I was able to talk to him, and so I was so glad I was able to get home and at least talk to him before he died. And I remember the last thing I said to my dad was, "I love you, Dad." And I said, I'm going to miss you, because I knew he was just almost dying, and he just turned and said, "I'm going to miss you too." And we just hugged. And that was the last thing we ever said to each other. And then he laid down, and he really didn't come out of it, because I think it was the next day. And I was, he was in a bedroom, and we'd be in the living room, me and my brother and sister and stuff. And I remember we were checking on him, and we'd go in there and, give him whatever he needed or whatever. And then we left the room, and me and my brother were talking for a little while, and then my brother went back to check on him, and my dad was gone. So I know these are hard times, but these are tough times for people. For Christina and for Soulcraft, and I know I have an idea of what you guys are going through, and it's sad. It's tough, but it's also a part of life. End of life is a part of life. So my best thoughts going out to you guys to get through this time. And if you do have a moment where there's a moment of clarity or whatever, or even if there's not, but, if you can give your dad or your parent, your mom, whatever, whoever it might be, give them a hug, and just tell them you love them. The Soulcraft says, my mom is 80, so I'll have to go through it again unless I happen to go first. Nick Rich, Blunt Politics is on. Oh, yeah. I always forget about it. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to do my thing. And if we overlap, we overlap. But if you guys do go over there, just say hi to Boston Brian from Trugger John or something like that. I have been over 2 hours now, though. So. WW, I think that Brian is starting right now. Yeah, I'm 20 minutes behind, so I guess this is when Brian was starting up. I'm 22 minutes behind in the chat. Man. minimizing it. All right, let me skip down a little bit here. Owen became a driver. Thank you, Owen. Yippee to Owen. Thank you so much for becoming a member, becoming a driver. Welcome to the club. I do appreciate you so much. Marsha Jones says Trump sucks, full stop. Linda Vaughn, Marsha Jones, he was in Iraq. I'm mid-thread because I am skipping down. Robert Perez says, dude, please don't start crying, man. I'm having a shitty stress day, and I need you to get me out of my stress, so stop. Laughing out loud. Marsha Jones, it's so hard. I lost my brother to cancer. He was 38. Anna Moore says, TJ, I know it seems like yesterday, right? I do believe that our departed loved ones are still with us in spirit. Michelle says, so sorry for your loss. I like to think God needed my mom more than we did. That's why he took her. DPD says, sorry, John, and to everyone else in the chat who are suffering, sending much love and many hugs. I mean, it's, for me, it's sad. It's sad, and I miss my dad. And I miss my mom. My mom passed away 4 years later, and I do miss them. But I also realize that that's, no one lives forever. We all die. So it's inevitable. So I'm a realist when it comes to that. I don't expect to live forever. I didn't expect my parents to live forever, but they did die relatively young. My dad was only 70. Was he 73 when he died? And then my mom was only in her 70s. I mean, people should be living at least into their mid 80s, But if you have folks in their mid 80s and they die, I mean, you should know, you should already be kind of mentally prepared for it. It's still sad, and we still miss our parents. We still miss our loved ones. I'm not saying that. And I miss my dad. I miss my mom. But I never expected that they were going to live forever. But it would have been nice, I mean, I do think they probably got shorted by about 10 years or 10 or 15 years. And that's a lot of time. I mean, they probably should have lived at least another 10 or 15 years than what they did, But yeah, it's sad. And, but that's a part of being a human being. We mourn the people that die, even though we know we're mortals. We don't live forever. But that's why we should not take whatever time we have for granted to be here and to be with our loved ones, to be with our kids and be with our family. We should not take that for granted, and I do that a lot, and I shouldn't. Because our time is here is limited. Like getting back to the school shootings, little 8-year-old and 10-year-old was murdered yesterday. Sandy Hook, you had 6-year-olds being murdered. Uvalde, you had 12 and 10 and 12 and 13-year-olds being murdered. So that's why we should cherish every moment that we have and not take it for granted. And I do it all the time. And so I need to not do that. Appreciate every moment, everybody. Give your kid an extra hug. Give your wife or your significant other an extra little hug today, and tell them you love them. Don't be afraid to tell your kids, especially, I think, that you love them, and let your significant other know that you love them. And don't put things off, because we never know what's going to happen. All right, guys, I guess I'm going to end it on that jolly note. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time. right here on the Trucker John channel. And hopefully there won't be any more school shootings between now and then. Hopefully we'll still have a country. Let's hang in there one day at a time. Let's do the best we can to hang in there and ride this thing out. And let's make sure we can vote in 2026. Okay, so check your voting registration status at vote.org on a daily basis. Maybe not on a daily basis, but you know what I mean. Make sure that you check it early enough so that if there's something wrong with your voter registration, you can get it taken care of in time to vote. So, all right, guys, you guys have been awesome. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. Thanks for all the liking, the subscribing, the sharing, and all of that good stuff. We're trying to get to 4,000. Let's see if we can get to 4,000 subscribers. And I will eat the dandelion. All right, guys, you guys are awesome. It's you guys that help me get through the day. All right, so thanks for being here. Only thing left to do now is the words of wisdom. So get that pad out, that pencil, pen, crayon, Sharpie, whatever you got. Write this down. This is a keeper. Okay. All right. So for today's words of wisdom, guys, number one, just remember to.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hostile la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. All screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid. But doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where right here on the Trucker John live stream. Know it's time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food, and movies and bugs. hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. Apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. So you want to take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for lust. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love. It's all about the thrills, it's about staying in the hunt, it's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road, that's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows, so go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road, just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret, it'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. It's so damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life, everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot, you're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry